I'm the International Law Programs Officer for University of the Pacific, McGeorge School of Law. It's my own alma mater. I'm super proud to be working with them and supporting their efforts in developing international education, particularly with respect to sharing the news and information and potential career enhancement of those law students who are earning or have already earned their law degrees outside of the US at a non US law school or college, and to provide them information on ways that they can enroll in one of UOP McGeorge's LLM programs and not only get the benefit of having some cross jurisdictional academic experiences, but also to potentially enhance their career development in having basically American Bar Association accredited LLM that gives a nice overview of the US system and so forth. So I'm working in sharing that news with international students and law graduates. For me personally, I've been an international lawyer, business lawyer for most of my career. And about 10 years ago, I took assignments with the government of Dubai and then separately with the government of Kazakhstan to develop a continuing professional development platform called the Academy of Law. It was actually the Academy of Law at the Dubai International Financial Center and the Academy of Law at the Astana International Financial Center. So that's how I got into international education, and things have basically evolved from there. So that's a bit of a brief background as to who I am and what I've been doing, and my interest in the current role to support UOP McGeorge. Yes, the answer is yes and yes. I expected that this would be a tour that would be well organized, that we would be provided with sufficient information regarding the schools that we would be meeting, as well as planning and logistics information around pre-work, schedule, format of the presentations, and so forth. Those were my expectations, because it's not easy to arrange 12 or 13 or 14 university visits in a fairly short period. And so our expectation at UOP would be that Simple Ed would handle all of those matters, and that we would need to do our part in preparing our script, preparing our PowerPoint slides, sharpening our own value proposition, and basically planning our own outcomes from the trip, which from our side clearly would be to attract interest and attract applications to our LLM programs from credible candidates who are qualified and who were looking to study in the US. So those were my expectations. And I have to say, every single one of them was met. I think it was a great tour. The pre-work, I know we started with kind of an LLM overview seminar that was sort of open to the public, but that we were invited to join as part of the LLM tour, of which I did join, and it was quite helpful. And then once we had registered, obviously, for the program, there was good systematic communications from Simple Ed to UOP to me personally, as well as to my colleagues. The online materials were great, starting with the introductory video, kind of an overview video. I know some information was required by Simple Ed, and it was a really great website that was created to register, to prepare and upload relevant documents, our presentations, our passports, our own mini CV, description of our university. So it was a very user-friendly site to navigate. And then there was also very much the personal touch where we had a joint Zoom call with one of my colleagues as well as someone from one of the other universities uh, that was attending, sending a representative. So we had a great Zoom call. So that was very interactive and talked about very practical things about traveling and other logistics matters in India. That was very helpful. So I felt energized, prepared, excited, enthusiastic, and ultimately it was a great trip. So those are kind of my primary feedback items. Simpled was really has a great product and services, and I think we got some tremendous leads. And as we both have seen, even several of the universities have initiated very positive social media posts uh, underscoring their appreciation for what we did and thanking us sincerely for creating international education opportunities for their students and graduates. Yeah, there were several high points of our trip. I think each day had its own separate set of high points. Um, but the one that stands out in my mind is it might sound a bit simplistic, but it's sort of a great symbol or even a metaphor of my experience in India for those 8 days, and that is when we arrived at one of the universities um, in an interesting structure. This particular law school had an undergraduate campus. They had postgraduate programs, including law. They had a high school. They had a grade school, elementary school, as we would say in the US. And we showed up just in time for the morning Pledge of Allegiance and singing of the national anthem in India. These were young kids and clearly had a lot of enthusiasm and national pride for their country. And then when the kids spotted us getting out of our cars, coming to a meeting, and we're all dressed, like professionals, and the swarm of children, and there must have been several hundred, turned to us and started cheering and waving. And we were lucky enough, thanks to you, by the way, to capture the this whole scene on video. And you had mentioned, that they were really, this was for us, that it was for the international guests coming to the university. And you mentioned that the students have been taught to be respectful and appreciative for international collaborations. They're appreciative for anyone or any institution who can help create opportunities to support the education of a great people who have a rich and historically significant history. And so I kind of felt that as a theme, throughout the entire tour, is we were warmly welcomed, of course, by the adults who run the law schools and by the students who were young adults also. Um, there was a general theme of appreciation, of a thirst for knowledge, and openness to new experiences, including living and traveling in the U.S. And so I thought that was kind of a significant moment that was really made me reflect a lot about the value of this tour, not only to us, but of course, to these students, faculty, and administrators who were affected by it. you know, you did a good job with UOP in explaining your value proposition. So, all the things that we earlier talked about, the pre-work, the videos, the social media advertising, the follow-up work with navigating the website, informational website, the personal consultations about softer issues that are important when you travel outside the US, whether it's where to stay or what food to eat or things to be aware of, what kind of clothing to wear, certain um, areas of cultural importance or sensitivities. So I think just to continue to use that script, I mean, that script is sort of your value proposition. And the most important thing is you're arranging the meetings, arranging all the logistics, including travel, meals, um, hotel visits, keeping everybody organized and on time. So all that pre-work and then logistics execution. And then what I'm most happy about is what happened after the event. You lived up to your promises on sending us a full list of all the student attendees at 13 different sessions. You did that within a matter of a few days after the completion of the tour. So that was really impressive. So I think it's a matter of, you know, continuing to summarize your value prop in sort of bullet points that are relevant to those looking to do a tour. Let's face it, universities have their own recruiting programs. They could they could set up meetings, they could arrange logistics, but Simple Ed made it so easy to take a lot of that burden off of us and let us focus on what we do,
Exactly.
and that's deliver our message about the value of living and studying, in our case, Sacramento, California, both from a personal and an academic standpoint, what a great experience it could be. And frankly, enabling us to just really focus on articulating our unique value proposition. Because at the end of the day, that was our mission. So that would be my suggestion. I think keep doing what you're doing, do more of the same, and continue to distill it to these 8 or 10 kind of value points.
Yeah.
And as you know, social media is really important, both in the planning stage and then certainly um, post event discussions and so forth. So I think you guys are really on a great track. One item that I think could be focused on would be add a touch more structure to our presentations. So, and I think that since Simple Ed was the point of contact, for planning purposes, and even at the event, the pre-event kind of discussions. When I mention event, I mean the student, preparing for the student presentations
Yes.
and communicating with their faculty and their administrators is on the is to let the head administrator for the event know what the running order is going to be for the meeting. So it's, I, Saqib, will kick things off and introduce the meeting, or they might say they will kick things off and introduce you. And then I think to add or just to kind of support the professionalism of the event so that it looks like it's been carefully choreographed. And so I think that then it would be clear on the transitions between speakers.
Yeah.
And then I think whether I'm a speaker or any of my colleagues or any of your other university clients, if you will, somebody should give then kind of the brief introduction of the speaker.
Yeah.
And after that speaker, to
Okay.
get back up, and either you
Yes.
or the administrator from the university to give that high level introduction. That would be my only kind of constructive feedback around that.